All right, in this proof, you're going to have a few more statements and a few more reasons to explain why angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So they look like they could be the same, but we can't just confirm that unless we have some information, right? So that's where our givens come into play. We are being told angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. We got to know what the word supplementary is, so we'll talk about that. Angle 2 and angle 3 are also supplementary. So this angle and this angle, supplementary angles. This angle and this angle are also supplementary angles. So let's start by giving the given. So what were we told? We were told angle 1 and 3, or excuse me, angle 1 and 2 are supplementary. Angle 1 and 2, supplementary. How do we know that? It was given to us. We also know that angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary. Angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary as well. That was also given. Okay, so we have two givens. We're going to start with those two pieces of information and we're going to work from there. So the next thing we need to talk about is what the heck is supplementary? Supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180 degrees. Total of a half rotation like that would be 180 degrees. They make a straight line. So if I had 100 here, that means that this angle would have to be 80 to make a total of 180. That's what supplementary angles are. So what we need to do down here is use that information. We're going to say angle 1 plus angle 2. So if I were to add the two angles together, that's going to have to equal 180 degrees. How do we know that? That's the definition of supplementary angles. So what's the reason for saying this? Definition of supplementary angles. Okay. 1 and 2 are supplementary, so they add up to 180. 2 and 3 are supplementary, so what do those add up to? You guessed it, 180. We're going to say angle 2 plus angle 3 is also supplementary, so those add up to 180. Definition of supplementary is our reasoning for this. We were told back in the day supplementary angles are at 180 total, so let's get the sum of them, write it equal to 180. Let's get the sum, write it equal to 180. We're just setting up equations showing what we already know. We already know supplementary angles are 180 degrees total. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use substitution to replace. If this is equal to 180 and this is equal to 180, they're the same thing, meaning this is equal to this. Why? They both equal the same values, so this has to be the same as that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to substitute this information here, angle 2 plus angle 3, which is the same thing as 180. We're going to replace that 180 with this information. So I'm going to say angle 1 plus angle 2 is equal to, but instead of saying 180, because this is also equal to 180, I can just write this information down. Angle 2 plus angle 3. How did we determine that? We just substituted 180 out and put angle 2 plus angle 3 in, right there. Substitution. We've been doing that since the dawn of time. Okay, so we're replacing. I like to tell my kids substitution is just replacing something with something we already know. So we already know 180 is the same thing as this information, so we're just going to take it and substitute it in. We're going to replace it in. Replacing, substituting, meaning the same thing. Okay, so now, if you look here, angle 1 plus angle 2 equals angle 2 plus angle 3. What do both sides of the equation have in common? They both have an angle 2. So we're going to substitute that out. We're going to take angle 2 away, substitution, subtract it out. So remember back when we were solving equations, we'd be like minus angle 2, and then we could cancel. That's all we're doing. We're just canceling out the angle 2's because they're on both sides. If I take an angle 2 away from here, take an angle 2 away from there, you're removing the same thing on both sides of the equation, so it stays balanced and equal. So what we're going to now do is say angle 1 is equal to angle 3. We know this because of subtraction. We're subtracting the angle 2's from both sides. Subtraction. And then last but not least, if angle 1 is equal to angle 3, we know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. And how do we know that? Because of the definition of congruence. If two things are equal, they are congruent. Definition of congruence. So we've now made it to the final result of angle 1 being congruent to angle 3, which is what they wanted me to prove. We started by only knowing angle 1 and 2 were supplementary. These add up to 180, those add up to 180. Well, if this number stays the same, these also must be the same. How did we prove it? We were given some information. We used the definition of supplementary to show they have to equal 180 each. Then we took the 180 and replaced it with this information here, setting up an equation. We subtracted angle 2 from both sides, and it left me with angle 1 equal to angle 3. If two things are equal, they are also congruent. That is the definition of congruence. And you have now finished a two-way statement and reasoning proof for angle relationships. Hopefully this makes sense. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.